Doge is on the hunt. The Democratic establishment is panicking. Politico is melting down, and Bill Kristol has to go back. Despite pleas that Elon Musk is not an elected official, this is precisely what the American people voted for. Peeling the mask off the rotten managerial state won at the ballot box. And from the looks of it, the Trump administration is only getting started. Welcome to Contramundum.
The American Revolution, in other words, is never finished. It must always be renewed.
Greater love than this hath no man, than that he lay down his life for his friend.
What if it's not envy?
We must take back our cities, and take back our culture, and take back our country. God bless you, and God bless America.
Well, welcome to Contramundum. I'm Andrew Isker. This is
CJ Engel.
CJ Engel, that's your name, right?
I think so.
And who do we have
intro,
here?
Was that did that play the music too?
I don't know. We'll find out. We'll have to look at the comments to see what they said. We couldn't hear it in our setup, but we have joining us today, Mr. Ron Dotson.
Okay. Hey, boys.
Hey, Ron, how are you?
Doing great. I'm enjoying the winning.
Me too. Gary, can you put the comments up? I can't see the comments. We have many commenters. I don't know if Ron can see them too. Yes, welcome everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Well, all of the winning has been so much fun. I mean, what's been your favorite thing, CJ, so far with all the winning?
That's a good question. I like that. I mean, the Bill Kristol. Being a ex-libertarian, dealing with Bill Kristol was always like insufferable. But
yes,
just seeing him in complete meltdown, tears in his eyes, and then he's just getting dunked in the comments. I mean, this is the time. Yeah. This is Ron Paul's victory. This is everybody's victory who hated the neoconservatives for years and understood how corrupt and cronyist and they're just disgusting people. So it's just amusing. You know, you don't have to say a whole lot. You can just watch from the wayside, but you can tell the momentum is on our side.
Yeah. How about you, Ron? What's your favorite part of the winning so far?
Oh, USAID has been in my crosshairs for years. If you've had any contact at all, no matter how tangential with the IC, you've known that this is Satan's toilet bowl.
Yes. Oh, it is so bad. I mean, I don't know if you saw, Ron, the photo of the the fighters in the Levant area that apparently we're not allowed to say the name of them on this platform, but the photo of the guys fighting in Syria that were Islamic and had a state, with them, holding their RPG or whatever, and behind them is a tent, plastered with USAID. It's like, this is who funded them, right? The whole overthrow of the Syrian government. How was it paid for? Through these people, and then like you look at the coup in Ukraine in 2014. How did that happen? Where did it come from? Right? Who paid for that? And
all the anti-Orban stuff. I wrote about this last year. I didn't mention USAID by name because by that point I'd mentioned several agencies and I didn't want to get too arcane, but they were the funding. They're the funding behind all of that. It is your tax dollars paying for your opposition. It is. It's hilarious coming from Democrats because it's completely anti. It's not anti-democratic. It's absolutely what, since the times of Plato, what we've known democracy, raw rank democracy leads to, which is an oligarchical farce. And USAID is and there's some great sources out there. The comments by Rogan with Weinstein were hilarious as they just go down the laundry list. But to me, and what's even better is the guy who's been put in charge of USAID is an acquaintance. Morocco is he's an absolute stud over there. And so very, very pleased. But there's lots to cheer. JD Vance, his communications game is even better than I expected. Look at the character arc of Marco Rubio. I mean, I was lucky. And I used to be involved in, well, it's not important what I was involved in, but I had dinner with Marco before he ever had national, was elected to national office. And he was an impressive young man who had a great story to tell, and did so very well. It's so hard to be a young guy who's not, but he never had a lot of money. I don't mean campaign funds. I mean, he personally, when he came at dinner with the group I was in, he had driven up from Florida in his white minivan. No, I mean, this is no lie. When he was running, and he didn't have, really two nickels to scratch together. So I think he's been under the thumb of just whoever his sources are. And now it's kind of interesting to see him freed. And the guy who I kind of, he was never my favorite, I'll be honest, but I thought he was a lot better than what he'd shown, especially in the Senate. And it's kind of neat to see that character arc. So,
well, I mean, that's the interesting thing about Rubio. And I think, we talked about this last week with Nate Hochman a little bit about Rubio. And I think it's a very similar arc to someone like Ron DeSantis in terms of, right. You saw, Ron DeSantis on the campaign trail, like immediately. I remember he filled out like this candidate survey. I mean, this was like the big tell. He filled out this candidate survey for Tucker Carlson when Tucker, right before Tucker was off Fox. And there he talked about the Ukraine war, and it was very sensible. It was very Trumpian in his analysis of that conflict. And then within 24 hours, he reverses course completely and says, no, we need to give infinity billions to Ukraine. And you can tell, like, why would someone do that in that space of time? Well, it's obvious. Like the donors are telling him, no, you got to say this or we're pulling all the money.
Well, and he went and signed that bill in the Florida bill in Israel. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
The game's up at that point.
Yeah. And so it's like so many guys like that where they don't have, it's a good comment. They don't have funds of their own or big money of their own. Like they're totally beholden to the donors, and they can't be who they maybe otherwise actually would be. And so you saw that with DeSantis, and then as soon as he's no longer running for president, like he returned to what he always had been in Florida. Right. He sounded so much better. And so you see that with Rubio, where it's like, okay, latching onto Trump has actually freed him to pursue his own political instincts.
This is exactly why I'm not as critical and black pill on Trump as a lot of other people are. I'm a moderate, even in my pills. But the reason is because he's changing the Overton window. He's giving us permission to push things rightward. And like, that's the thing, we can actually have our voices heard, and he gives us a sort of sanction to actually be right wingers. And like, that's because he never cared. He doesn't care what the expectations are in terms of media framing or anything like that. And so when Trump is bold enough at the lead, then it allows people like Vance to absorb the momentum and the ethos of the online right. And like, that's exactly what we talked about last time. Yeah. If it wasn't for Trump, the posters would have no outlet. Right. So that's what he represents.
Yeah.
There's very I'm just going to say there's just very few General Washingtons. God doesn't make very many of those guys. So most people, even most leaders, if you're not at that highest level, you've got to have a foundation under your feet in order to go do your thing. It's why company leaders have to understand their role in empowering the talented people below them. It's not just and I see that in politics. So you're exactly right, CJ. Trump is providing this foundation for these guys to have just solid footing underneath them, so they can go do these things and not worry about what's been worrying people on the right since Nixon was railroaded.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And I mean, back to, Vance, briefly, I'm just blown away. I mean, we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but I remain more and more impressed each week with him, the Ordo Amoris discussion in tweets. That was phenomenal. That was fantastic. I was reflecting on it, over the last week, and I gave a talk. And CJ and I were at a conference with Paul Gottfried and Stephen Wolf, and I gave a talk on the Ordo Amoris the same day that Trump was shot, right, on July 13th. And never in a million years did I think the content of my talk would be spoken about publicly to 60 Minutes or wherever he did the press or wherever we did the interview, and then by the vice president on Twitter. Like I never in a million years thought like what I was talking about right there would make its way into the center of the mainstream with the vice president talking about like that,
and effectively.
Yeah, like I never ever thought that would happen.
Right.
And so that has been remarkable. Him defending the Doge staffer who was fired and then immediately rehired. That has been phenomenal. Yeah, that comment there. Oh, why did you didn't you banned our friend? No,
I didn't ban him.
Yeah, you banned him.
I didn't ban him.
You can't ban him. What are you doing that for? He's a friend.
I put him in timeout.
No, that bans him.
No, he's not. There's a difference between banning and timeout.
I think you accidentally banned him. Now we're going to have to go into YouTube, into the bowels of YouTube, and
timeout means he gets to come back for 2 minutes.
CJ has a way heavier hand than I do. I just ban the worst people.
I want to see the comments. Where are they?
No, he was attacking CJ for looking at his phone. I agreed with that comment, actually. Like, get off your phone, man.
No, I'm getting content.
He's getting content as we're going. I think about Vance and the fact that he does not accept the left-wing framing ever on anything. He just rejects it outright. He does not like these. He understands at a deep level that these are the worst people imaginable. They're just disgusting, evil people. You don't have to play by their rules. You don't have to accept their framing on anything. You don't have to give them the moral high ground on anything, right? When you talk about refugees or USAID, like, you're taking away money from poor people in Africa, and now all these people in Africa are going to starve. Like, you don't accept that framing. You speak about it from your own framing, which is the United States is not responsible for feeding Africa, right? That's not the job of the United States taxpayer. That's the job of Africa and African governments.
Andrew, to that exact point, and we can talk about this a little bit if we get to Gaza. Our aid has enabled the explosion of population in particularly Egypt to the point where they could never feed themselves.
Yes.
And so was that responsible? Was that good? Are we, and there are so many, well, again, I don't want to jump the gun, but you create untenable situations that could lead easily. Everybody's talking about this Gaza thing. What could lead to World War III is Egypt. Egyptians going hungry. And we feed them, not directly, but we give them the money that they use to buy grain from Russia. So they get the most foreign aid that we hand out.
Well, and like the libs that freak out about this stuff, right? They would be the very first person. Like if you went to Yellowstone and you go to where it says "Don't feed the bears," and you just leave your leftover food there. They'd be the first people to freak out. Like, don't you understand? If you feed the wild animals, they'll get used to human food.
I see what you're doing here, Andrew.
And they'll get overpopulation and they'll all starve and it'll create this ecological disaster. Right? They understand that because they care about animals more than the human beings. Right? They don't actually care about the people of Egypt at all. Right? They don't care that you create a dependency on the West that makes a totally untenable situation where now there's people that are going to starve even more. And like they don't care about human beings at all. Right? Everything goes back to the heat map. Right? Everything.
It's a paradox because they view all people as absolutely this fake egalitarianism that is everyone is exactly the same.
Yeah.
And yet if that were the case, then they'd be able to just be completely left alone. It's cognitive dissonance everywhere. But you can't point that out or they throw the R word at you, so.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it in these terms, and this will probably be clipped by Right Wing Watch or something, but I look at it in the terms of like, okay, if African governments or Middle Eastern governments or third world Central American governments can't feed their people, they can't provide them with medical care and everything else, and it has to be doled out by the United States taxpayer, right? Well, then these places should be colonies of America, right? We should be getting something out of that arrangement. We should be able to exploit all their natural resources as much as we want because they cannot take care of themselves. We have to take care of them, so we should get something out of that arrangement, right? Like what they're saying is like they're not able to do it. Only we can. So right, we get to have the stuff.
And the colonial arrangement should and often did make sense for both sides. I mean, look at the Congo now compared to, colonial times or Mozambique or much less.
But Ron, haven't you read King Leopold's Ghost? Haven't you read King Leopold's Ghost, which is based on, the testimony of like 3 people that made everything up, that they did a genocide there. They killed like millions of people in the Congo.
Well, they've given us AIDS and Ebola. So back at you.
Well, like that is the thing. Like I saw an interesting thread. I wish I could cite it on x.com about the Portuguese colonies. So what would that be? Mozambique and Angola, maybe, I think. And these ones, they like the Portuguese successfully fought off an anti-colonial revolution, but then they had a leftist, basically Marxist government take over in their own country, and they decolonized on their own.
How do you think that Marxist government came to power in Belgium?
Yeah, or in Portugal. Yeah. We did that.
Portugal.
Yeah, we did that. Not the Soviet Union, us.
No, we did that.
Yeah, 100%. And so like you have 2 countries that voluntarily gave up their colonies. So it wasn't because of war. It wasn't like all of the destruction that has happened since isn't because a brutal war was waged. And you see the result of it. Like it's shambles. Their people are starving. It's a mess. And it's like, if I were, a person living in Mozambique, which I think the capital is Maputo of Mozambique. I won the geography bee in 8th grade.
Nicely done.
I won this stored there all the way back from 8th grade. If I were living in Maputo in Mozambique, would I rather be
from Zanzibar, right?
Yeah, really though, like would I rather be ruled by the Portuguese? Or would I rather be ruled by someone from there that is going to rob me blind and provide no? I agree. We're all going to make it. CJ is, we're all going to make it. That's why are you gay. He is absolutely wrong about GIF.
This is a hard day for me.
Yeah,
man.
CJ's taking L's everywhere. This is why he's dressed in black. Black pilled.
It's a rough day for me.
Yeah, I would absolutely rather be ruled by the Portuguese. Like it's not even any question. You know, yeah. Like who cares? I'd rather have like be able to live in a place that's not full of crime and trash. So anyway,
order is good.
Yeah. What's that?
Order is good.
Yeah,
order is good. This is
order turns out
1 Corinthians 14. We serve a God of order, not of chaos. And you know, there are different ways to get to order that are better than others, but just in and of itself, order is a good thing. Order means the God as good night. Who was the medieval theologian who said, order gets the gospel out. So,
I don't know if I can recall who said that.
Somebody it was falsely attributed to Luther, who, the whole I'd rather a wise Turk than a Christian, because a wise Turk will bring order and then therefore the gospel will go out. But that wasn't Luther. I don't remember who it was. No.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, so USAID. I mean, one of the things CJ in the introduction that he wrote. CJ's
it was good. It was good.
Yeah, he's my writer. He brought up Bill Kristol crying.
Yes.
Right. Bill Kristol needs to go back. The one by Josh Dawes or
no, the one where he was really upset about everything. He was let me find it.
You're gonna have to be more specific.
I'm sorry to pull out this cell phone, but I'm gonna pull this up.
Well, speaking of Kristol, go ahead.
Look at that. You've been you got supporters, CJ. Presbyterianon says, why are you gay? And Andrew are both wrong.
So Bill,
peanut butter pronunciation supremacy. CJ Invictus.
Yes.
So CJ, he gave $5. So you're ahead by $3. Yeah, go ahead.
He said, the deep state is far preferable to the Trump state. and then he got responded to by the data Republican guy. Who's doing all the USAID stuff.
Or is that a gal? I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
He says, hello, Mr. Kristol. For you, the deep state is preferable because you are listed as the president of Defending Democracy, which is an indirect beneficiary of USAID through Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors. You are exposed. And basically, he had received hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars from USAID. So, of course, he prefers the deep state. He was built on the deep state. He was born into that world, and he made his career on it.
Yeah, and so you're familiar with also the anti-Christian nationalism group Redeeming Babel. Are you familiar with this group? David French and Curtis Chang and Russell Moore. Well, it turns out that they received $200,000 from Bill Kristol's organization. That very same one.
Yeah.
And so now maybe the $200,000 earmarked came from private donors. It's hard to say, but money is fungible. And so what that means ultimately is that these groups like David French, Russell Moore, the other guy, they're functioning as agents of the regime. Right. And this is all stuff that, we basically assumed, right, for years that these are just regime apparatchiks. But it's like totally different when you've got the evidence right before you of it. And it's all of it. I mean, and so much of the other, USAID stuff and government grants and things like that, all of the 990s for the various 501c3s. Like there's so many left-wing organizations and causes and things like that received money from the federal government. And it shows you, I mean, you look at like Politico, right? Gets $8 million in subscriptions, right? And by the way, they weren't able to pay their people as soon as Trump shut down and froze USAID funding, right? Like, and they're like, oh, no. These are pro subscriptions. They cost $10,000 each and they provide crucial information. And it's like, no, like this is no different than like Hillary Clinton getting a $100 million book advance and or $20 million a speech for 20 minutes to cackle on about something. And it's like, no, these are just payoffs.
Yeah.
Right. You were being paid off for coverage. And this is how the skids get greased in Washington, D.C. And so all of the left-wing stuff, all of the thought leaders and influencers and important people and magazines and journals and think tanks, right? We paid for that.
Yeah.
We paid for all of it.
Yeah. This is the thing. We don't live in a liberal capitalist system. This entire
now
thing
for the first time.
Like manufactured consent, the entire media apparatus. Like I like James Kirkpatrick's thing. Like democracy is ruled by media, and who runs the media? The state. The state manages the media. They send them the funds, and in exchange, the media basically just echoes the interests of the regime. This is, I mean, that's like this is why we always get in a fight with like, I mean, who cares about the Democrats and the left wing and stuff? I'm actually interested in the classical liberals, so-called. They're the ones that hate us for wanting to undermine this system. This system has nothing to do with freedom. This system is a totalitarian bureaucracy. It's a managerial state, and the money flows from our pockets through the state mechanisms and out to the media apparatus. That's how the system works.
Yeah.
And we've seen in the last couple of weeks how the media is funded, and therefore what interest it has in promoting certain frameworks, certain narratives and stuff like that. This is how the Defense Department is run. This is how the Food Administration is run. This is how the entire complex of the managerial state functions. We don't have a free society. We live in a managerial totalitarian bureaucracy. That's that at the end of the game. Like that's exactly what the right wing has been totally vindicated on. And this is only a tip of the iceberg too. This is like anyone who says
this is just USAID.
This is the thing that just ticks me off. You guys are trying to undermine the Constitution. The Constitution is dead.
Yeah.
USAID writ large is a better description of our governing system.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, it's getting about that time, CJ, that I'm getting kind of hungry.
What are you in for?
I'm hungry for some Farmer Bills.
Farmer Bills is the absolute best. Is it?
Yeah, it is.
It is. All right.
Are you reading the ad yet, or is that part of it?
That's the prelude to the ad. Here's the ad. If you're like me, you grew up on beef jerky. It was a must-have for a road trip. But have you read the ingredients they're putting in jerky? Have you read that, Andrew? Like, what are the ingredients in there? Maltodextrin. Any maltodextrin in there? MSGs, synthetic nitrates, artificial flavors, tons of sugar and allergens like ultra-processed soy and gluten. Not to mention most jerky companies use the lowest quality imported beef. There's the dilemma. You need protein on the go or during a podcast, but beef jerky is laced with lab chemicals from the globalist laboratory. Enter Farmer Bills. Farmer Bills Provisions is a rancher-owned meat snacks company in South Dakota that offers pasture-raised meat snacks. He makes biltong. It's like beef jerky, but without the bad ingredients. I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this. Pull up the ingredient list and tell me if this is consistent here. Beef, apple cider vinegar, sea salt, coriander, clove, white and black pepper. That's it. No sugar, no soy, no nitrates. You can try the 4-pack sampler of their pre-sliced biltong, but I would recommend going for the best-selling bundle, which includes the 4-pack, a half-pound slab, which, by the way, is beyond
the slab
addicting.
is good. Yeah,
that's the best. Half-pound slab. Keep it away from your friends. You want the whole thing for yourself. And part of that
CJ
bundle is 2 of their grass-fed tallow bombs that will nourish that wintry, dry skin. The pre-sliced biltong is perfect for protein on the go, and the slab is great for snacking at the house or hosting a party, like right now.
That's right. Or one of the pasture raves.
And I think next time I need to eat while you read. It's like a huge dry-aged ribeye that you can slice off little steak strips for snacking. Grab Farmer. This is the important part, guys. Grab Farmer Bill's bestseller bundle with free shipping and an extra 20% off with code CONTRA. So go to Farmer Bill's, Google it. Farmer Bills Provisions, enter Contra to get 20% off plus free shipping on that bestseller bundle. We're back. We good?
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, Ron,
we're gone.
You're missing out. I'm gonna have some.
We need to send you some. I'm gonna order some right now and send it. Don't tell your address to the viewers, but I'll send. I'll look up my Christmas
Hey,
list
guys.
and send it to you, Ron.
I will
That's
happily.
I want to go to a cattle rave, a pasture rave. See what one of those is like.
Well,
Can
hey,
you hear my mic, Gary.
Yeah, can everyone hear CJ Chew, the biltong? It's so good.
Yeah. If you're driving right now, pull over and order some. Because I'm about to buy it all.
Yeah, they might have
that sounds so good.
I'm done. Well, yeah. So the other big interesting event that happened this week that really set the world on fire for like 24 hours and then everyone's kind of forgotten about it is Trump's conference with Benjamin Netanyahu. So what did you think about that, Ron?
I understand all the concern. I have some very good friends who I love deeply, who are ready to light the torches and get out the pitchforks, because it smacks at first blush of a return to a type of crass imperialism rather than a principle. Look, like it or not, we are right now more empire than nation by our own creation. We would love it to return to a more national type of situation, but right now we are an empire. But that empire's been pretty crass, and like you said, it hasn't been for the benefit of our citizens. It's been just for a way to line the pockets of a special elite. I think I'll just tell you what I immediately thought of. Okay, first of all, the Gazan people, and I feel, look, let's admit it. The Israelis participated in 100% in mowing the lawn down to the roots. This is ethnic cleansing. And hey, look, that's been, like it or not, throughout world history, that's been a huge part of statecraft. I don't like it. I feel terrible for the people who are basically put in that 11-mile long, 3-mile wide prison. But their fate, I really do. I want to be kind of Mearsheimer on this, a realist. Yeah. Their fate was sealed in 1948. There was nothing, because the Egyptians don't want anything to do with it. The Israelis don't want anything to do with it. And anytime anything happened, when the Gazans look, what they did back a year and a half ago was terrible, but you can understand how that happens, right? So anyway, I'm not excusing it, but I'm not going to excuse what amounts to carpet bombing of the most densely populated area on Earth either. So
yeah. My
first reaction to what Trump said was, look, when they're talking about occupation, there's nothing left. There's nothing to occupy. It's a lot to bulldoze. And what I immediately thought of was this Egyptian situation, which I mentioned a minute ago. That's 112 million people sitting right there on the border of Israel. And 30% of those people live below the poverty line. And I'm not talking about the American poverty line. I'm talking about the African poverty line. Yeah. And so their population is set to be 160 million by 2050. And they only produce a fraction of the food they need to feed their own people. Their economy doesn't produce near enough GDP to buy the food to feed those people. So they subsist on foreign aid from the United States, from China, and from Russia. But by far, the most is from the United States. And they use that money indirectly to buy grain from Russia. So I would love for the United States to be able to wash our hands and say, we're done with it. The whole situation, just have at it. We're not going to even be involved at all in Europe or the Middle East or Asia or whatever. But number one, there's zero, that would mean abandoning Israel, and there's just zero political will other than the three of us and our buddies online. There's no political will for that. So again, just being a realist, if we're going to be involved over there, do you want to reward the Israelis for basically genociding the Gazans by letting them have that land?
Yeah,
I don't. And with what is needed is a buffer zone between Israel and Egypt, because if it gets hot and the Egyptians screw up and those people go hungry, they're marching north. And let me just, this is a problem. We don't have the political will to watch any of this happen. Nowhere close. And if it comes to a conflict, nukes fly. They just do, because Israel has nukes and Egypt does not. So let's just look at the differences here. Active military personnel, Egypt, 500,000. Israel, 170,000. Reserve personnel, another 800,000 in Egypt. 500,000 in Israel. And then paramilitary, 400,000 paramilitary in Egypt and only 8,000 in Israel. So this is not a even fight. Now, you've got 4,000 Egyptian tanks versus 2,500 Israeli tanks. This lopsidedness goes on, except for cases of Air Force and nuclear arsenal. So we treated that part of the world like Pottery Barn. We were in bed with the British, who apportioned it all off, and it's deeply broken. And I'm fine with saying, hey, let's leave it alone. I'm not fine with us getting pulled into a nuclear conflict with Russia and China, because that's who Egypt immediately is going to go to, because China and Russia both would love to have Egypt be their ally instead of us. And so you just get pulled in, and we need Suez access. We just do. So with all that in mind, and I'm in line with what Curtis Yarvin has been open. His latest piece in Gray Mirror, confirmed, but he had talked about this earlier. This is probably the path of least resistance and most what is best actually for the American citizen. If again, we would all love to wash our hands of that area, but there's no political will for it. And number two, us doing that means it could be seriously way more than an attack on Taiwan by China. This is World War III kind of starter fuel. So that's kind of my opinion on the Gazan thing. And boy, I don't think Bibi saw it coming. When
no, you could tell. Yeah, you could tell by his reaction, right? Like he's up there, kind of squirming around up there, like not very excited about that. You could tell, like that was the first time he heard this proposed.
Was
like,
Trump just being Trump, or is this actually a strategy here?
I think it might be, right, for the reasons that Ron is laying out. That if you and it isn't so much that the
somebody
Egyptians
wanted to see this on the chat.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you can play something for us later.
62 Lake Placid Blue.
It wouldn't it wouldn't be so much that the Egyptians would be able to fight a conventional war and always like have certainty that they would win, right? Like Arab armies are not characteristically very disciplined and organized. Their officer and NCO corps is not it's not really that good. Like, I mean, you can look at the experience of the United States against the Iraqi army, things like that. But that being said, people fight differently when they're starving and when their back is against the wall. And so if any possibility that Israel and Egypt would ever go to war would mean very bad things. And so you want to do everything you can to prevent that. And having an American territory in the Middle East.
It's our Kaliningrad
counterintuitive logic. Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
I was just going to say, I mean, Russia has this in the Baltics with Kaliningrad. They have a separated territory. I don't know what it ends up looking like, and I'm a hard out here in a couple of minutes. But if you go and do just some basic research on the ties that Egypt has to China and to Russia, and I mean, it's no secret. I would love for us to get along with our Orthodox kindred in Eastern Europe and Asia. I have an aunt that is Russian. I love Russian literature and the people. Those people fought off communism, and I would love for us to be friends with them. I know why that's politically untenable currently, but I would take Russians over Chinese. But the problem is if you pull out, you don't control who, you just have no say in it. Again, in principle, that sounds great, but we don't live in principle. We live with real human beings. That's the whole point of what us on the right are trying to tell people. This isn't about just principles that exist in the Platonic realm. This is about rule over real people. So, but you can look and see the ties. They're online.
Oh, no,
y'all need anything else from me?
I don't know. Anything else, CJ? Anything else you want to cover with Ron?
Do you have time to stay?
No, he's got to get rolling.
I could stay maybe 5 more minutes, but I have a gala I have to go prepare for tonight.
Yeah. Are you playing guitar at the gala?
No, this is supporting my wife as an artist. And she is there's a mission to Africa that she supports through selling her art. And so this is the big fundraising gala for that ministry. And I'm just going and supporting my very, very talented, beautiful wife.
Oh, well, congratulations. That sounds wonderful. Well, yeah, Ron, thank you for your time as our official geopolitical correspondent. We appreciate it always. Thanks for jumping on with us.
You bet. See you, boys.
See you, Ron.
Okay. So
yes, boot him. so by the way, Gary's computer's at 11%.
I see that. Okay. Yeah, we might just end whenever. I have to get framed in the shot here. I got to get used to these things. No, we needed to talk about the Doge staffer. What was his name? Marco Elek.
Yeah.
He went by other names, I think. He went by other names too. So what happened there, CJ? Maybe not everyone is familiar.
I don't know. But so someone basically doxed him, right? That was the thing. Do you know what reporter it was?
Something Howard.
So basically he was doxed, and turns out he had said, some things that were perceived as racist, by the ever concerned media, and he resigned.
He resigned because of the hit piece down on him.
He was pressured to resign.
He was doxed.
And I think he shouldn't have done that. I think the age of resigning is over. I think that the left would never resign. They would stand by each other. Mm-hmm. But we are seeing some optimism, right? Like you have Musk and Vance basically saying, yeah, we're going to have him back.
They supported him and they brought him back.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's officially been hired.
Elon said he's coming back.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay. Well, see, there you go. I mean, this is the thing. This is the first time the media has ever experienced a situation where they got somebody canceled, and then basically, I don't really care, Margaret.
Yeah, I think it's actually better this way. It's way better for them to think they get a scalp because why do they go after him? They don't go after they do go after random people for posts and things that they want to call racist. We were the subject of that, and we're not all that important. Many other people are the subject of these things. So they like doing that. They like ruining people's lives just for the sake of it, right? That brings them joy and glee to do. But they went after him because Doge is effective, right? It it is causing them tremendous pain, and it is causing them to lose for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And so that's why they go after him.
Yeah.
And they go after him, they get his scalp, and they think, we got him. This is just going to be like 2017 where we got a bunch of Trump people fired right away. Like they were able to get like General Flynn fired right away. And hey, we got him. We're fighting back against the evil fascist in the Trump administration. And then you rug pull them 24 hours. It's like, we didn't actually care. He's coming back. Go pound sand. Like that is even better.
Why does he go through and resign then? Why doesn't he just say,
I think I don't think I'm not suggesting that this was like planned, right? That this was someone between Vance and Musk and this guy said, no, this is a problem. You got to go. Right. I think that's what happened. And they've been overruled.
Yeah.
And so, but I think it's even better. It's an even better outcome because they thought they got it. And then, don't got it. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. This almost never happens. Like nobody on the right does this to the media. They're always groveling. We saw this here too.
Yes.
Like it's hard for conservatives to muster the fight within them.
To just not care what these people think about you.
Yeah,
what they say about you. Oh, you think I'm a bad person? Well, you believe men can become women. And little boys should have their genitals cut off. I don't care what you think. Like that's what you just have to go to. Is like, these are evil people that believe evil things. You should not want them to like you, right? You should want them to think that you're evil and the scum of the earth because they're evil, right? That should be your attitude. And if it's not your attitude, you're a coward, right? That's the thing that people need to like tattoo on their souls is the people we are fighting are evil. You don't want them to like you. So stop trying to get them to like you. Stop trying to get them to think that you're a good person, right? They're never going to do it. Or if they do, then you are in trouble. I think it signals something that's really good that age of them being able to dictate things is over. Like Darren Beatty getting hired in the State Department. I mean, another W for Marco Rubio, because he has to approve that decision. And Darren Beatty has some pretty spicy posts out there as well. So no, that age is over.
Yeah, the age of being canceled on the right is coming to an end, and that's why the Trump administration matters. That's why all these guys like Nick Fuentes and stuff, they're completely wrong on this. Yeah. Like you're changing the Overton window. Yeah, and you're not doing it by like posting like and saying like the edgiest thing you could possibly. No, like you win by winning. Right? Yeah. You win by winning, not by losing. Yeah. Turns out. And so like Paul down there in the comments, he asked what was the comment that got him fired. Some of them we probably can't say because this is being broadcast on YouTube. But I mean, they were the kind of thing that a 19-year-old kid, you could see them commenting online. The kind of things a lot of 19-year-old kids comment online. I mean, with regard to the overall online, like it wasn't that bad. No, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but I mean, it was at the same time, it's like, okay, yeah, he said things that are offensive, whatever, but it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he said, right? That's the thing we have to get. It's like, it does not matter what he said. That's the thing internally, right? You weigh the goodness or badness of something somebody said. You don't let the evil people that are your enemy get to dictate whether what he said is good or bad, or you need to fire him. Yeah. Right. You do that internally, right? You don't. And then once they do it, right. Once they make the demand to fire him, you do not fire him. Ever. Yes, exactly. Never. You don't let them set those terms ever. Right. It doesn't matter what he said, right? He could have said the worst things you could possibly imagine. You don't fire him. Yeah. That's political strategy. Yeah. 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 It's not like a moral strategy to say like, oh, well, then what he said was good. We all have to agree with him. We all have to think he's a great guy. It's like, no, I think he could be a terrible person. I don't care. Yeah, but like, now he has a job to cut. Well, but also like once they play that card, now it's imperative on the right wing to say no. Yeah. Maybe actually we were going to fire him, but because you now want it to happen, we're not going to anymore. Yeah. All things being equal, we would have fired him. Yeah. But because you're demanding it, we are never going to fire him. He has a job for the next 4 years. He gets tenure in our administration. Yeah. Yeah. And then when Vance gets elected, he's going to be around still. Yeah. Right? No.
No,
Mhm.
you do not get to dictate these terms, right? That's what has to change. And because once there's blood in the water, then they're going to go for the next guy and the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. And each one of the things is going to be a little bit less offensive, a little bit, but they're going to keep going.
Well, isn't it the story of the 1960s to now? That's the story of the conservative movement. Just this little thing. We just need to, push this
You
one
got to
out.
excise these people out.
Yeah, this guy's a little bit too far to the right. The John Birch Society.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam Francis. Okay, Joe Sobran. Okay, Murray. Like it's just on and on
all
and
of
on.
them.
And now you
Paul
can't even
Gottfried.
quote Russell Kirk.
Yeah.
No,
it's
how they win.
It's insane. And so like all of this, I mean, and you see how the left operates, right? Their moderates are like totally amoral, right? They don't care about their radicals, right? They don't even believe in the things their radicals believe in. They just know that they're useful to them having power. And our moderates, our centrists, all they care about is that everybody thinks that they're good people.
Right.
And accepting the liberal frame. Right. And so they don't operate the same way. Right. They operate in terms of, no, we got to gatekeep everybody, all of our radicals, everybody to our right, everybody that says offensive things and crazy things. We are not with them. They're bad people. Rather than saying, I don't know them. They're not with me. I don't really care what this guy said or whatever. Like, he's a low-level staffer, but he's doing good things. And what he says, or crazy stuff he says, we don't really care about. Right. He's not saying that in this government. That's not official policy of the Department of Government Efficiency. So that's his own personal statement. Yeah. Whatever. That's how the left would act in that. They wouldn't even, I mean, one, they don't have an adversarial media. And to the extent that they do, I mean, look at
but they used to. This is the thing.
Yeah.
This is their story from the 1960s. They played this game. They thought about it. They recognized that standing loyal to your left flank is how you defeat the media. Yeah. That's what they did in the 50s and 60s. We're at 4%.
Yeah, we're at 4%. So we better get ready to go here. It can die any minute.
So, I mean, this is the lesson. Like, I'm gonna say something that is gonna upset James Lindsay, but you need to be reading Saul Alinsky to understand.
Oh, you do. I agree.
How to posture yourself as an outside force and get into the hegemonic position.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I say to anybody that is like, oh, why you can't read Carl Schmitt? I'm like, well, I read Saul Alinsky.
Yeah.
Right. I think you should too. Like anybody who doesn't is an idiot. Like Saul Alinsky read Carl Schmitt.
Yes.
Right. Like, where do you think he got anything from? Of course. So yeah. The main thing is we have to win, and we have to not care about how these people feel. Right. Like, I don't really care. Margaret is the phrase, right? The what are those the catchphrase, my brain's not working, of the Trump administration 2.0, right? I don't really care, Margaret, right? We are not letting you be in charge anymore. We have to win. Yeah. So anything else before we sign off? Because we're going to be at 3%.
I don't think we have time for anything else.
All right. Well,
next week is our big announcement.
Big announcement next week. We're also continuing work on this series that you all are going to want to watch.
Repealing the
20th century. We're getting everything. I mean, it's taken so long because how many? Can we tell them how many episodes?
Yeah, there's 21,
22 episodes that we're going to have.
The things that we do for these people.
I know we love you. We love you all. Banner motto. See, everyone's able to think, and I'm not. Repealing the 20th century. That is coming very soon.
I don't think either of those are the phrase that you're looking for.
All right, I was thinking. I
have something. I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue.
As soon as it's over,
perpetually, I'll remember. I'll remember later. So, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for that. That's gonna be.
I'm so excited for it.
Oh, me too.
We outlined it earlier this week, and it's
we've done a lot of work on it, and it's gonna be so much fun. So anyway, we hope you have a great Trump weekend and a great Trump Saturday. Keep winning. Each day is new winning. I mean, there's some L's thrown in there, but just don't care about the L's. Right? That's the other thing. Don't care about the L's.
2%.
Right? Trump has to win.
We're pushing it.
We're at 3%. All right. Well, thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay peacefully dangerous, and we will see you next time.